stars in your eyes?
No.
Did you fly over privately?
Yes, but it wasn't my plane.
So it didn't count?
No.
Jesus.
You fly over.
Yes.
And
it was
who were the first, like when you first met those leaders, you had to be wowed.
No.
You're
Big
10 years
ego.
out of Coney Island.
No, I'm not wowed by people of
It doesn't
position.
count.
I'm
I know.
wowed by people of great ideas. And I don't care if it's the bus driver.
Oh
I don't
my-
care if it's the student I had who has teeth coming out.
Well,
every
these guys
direction.
have to have great ideas. They're the leaders of the three great continents of the world: North America, Europe, and Japan.
The last time we had our 60-minute interview, you talked to me about home ownership. And you asked me whether everyone should own a home. And I told you no, too risky.
So the financial collapse of 2008 is because of hardworking African Americans, Hispanics, and whites who wanted to have a ownership stake in the society that all rests on their shoulders. They're the culprits.
No, not at all.
Okay, then
I didn't say they were the cops. I was pretty clear it was Bill Clinton.
okay.
And why was it Bill Clinton? Because Bill Clinton wanted to get votes from those people. And he sold them the idea that instead of renting in a house, and historically the values of houses have gone up, and he said, you guys in these local communities who haven't been able to afford a house before, I'm going to show you a way. I'm going to give you a way because I'm sure I'll get your vote
Oh my,
that you can own a house
bro.
because I want your vote. So what we're going to do is I'm going to let you buy a house, Mr. Bannon, when you really, you're right on the border, maybe, or not even on the border. Your credit is not good.
Yeah.
Okay, let's be honest. And it's not my fault. It's
5
not
minutes, how he was
Bill
recruited?
Clinton's
Okay,
fault.
all right, after
But
this.
whatever happens, at the moment your credit score or whatever it is, your credit's not good. Now, normally, you come to me and want to borrow money. I'm a bank. And I say, I'm sorry, Mr. Bannon, I can't lend you money because your credit score is not up to where it needs to be. Hopefully, if you work harder and clean up some of your problems, it will be. But no, what I say to you is I'm going to figure out a way to lend you, not give you.
He's right about this. He's talking about subprime mortgage loans. He's right. Like, yeah, I mean, this is it. Holy shit.
I'm going to lend you money anyway, though you don't have a good credit score. And don't worry, I'm going to get rid of the term that you don't have bad credit. Bad credit sounds pejorative. You don't want to be a person.
Sounds judgmental.
Yes, sounds judgmental.
Of course.
So what we're going to do is we're going to call your credit situation subprime. Oh, nobody knows what that means. Subprime. That means prime is good credit. Subprime is not good credit, less than good credit. So we'll call it something that people really won't follow. And we'll tell you what, we're going to have people lend you money, though you are a subprime borrower.
Dude, smart.
And I will figure out some government agencies to guarantee your loan, though I don't think you're a good risk. So the banks say, no.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. What we are doing is listening to Mr. Epstein talk about the clickbait little scam that was going on. All right, so a lot of people couldn't get loans back in the 90s for houses or whatever, right? So they started coming up with these new loaning places, Fannie Mae, Jimmy Mae, it was a whole bunch of them. And they were for subprime owners to get loans for homes. But here is where Mr. Epstein ain't telling the folks the switch and hook, the the sleight of hand with the loans. Yes, this is true. They were, even I had a house. But being that these were guaranteed loans from the government, these banks knew no matter what they did, that money was guaranteed to be paid by the government. So what they did was they seen it. They said, okay, we'll take all these people and give them loans. But what they weren't telling the government was they were writing them loans fraudulently, meaning balloon mortgages, contingencies within the mortgage and stuff. You miss one payment, you lost the whole thing, right? If it goes belly up, the banks didn't care because the government was going to pay. It was a guaranteed loan. The government would flip the bill. So what they were doing was they were giving loans, but they were writing them fraudulent. People were losing their homes, right? A balloon mortgage, it just keeps going up and up and up. A lot of people didn't even read the balloon mortgage contingencies in it, right? So the banks knew, and also they lied about a lot of stuff. People that had, double wide trailers, they didn't tell people, well, after 12 years, you can't borrow, you can't get a loan on that trailer because it's too old. They didn't tell people that. And people were buying all kinds of double wides, whatever. And that's why there's so many double wides and mobile homes or pre-manufactured homes on the market right now, is because there was no banks that would finance them after so long. So the whole thing was a racket. The whole dang thing from the word go. The banks knew it was a guaranteed loan from the government. They gave someone a loan, paperwork all messed up and everything. They didn't care, right? You lose your home, the loan goes bad, whatever. Well, the banks knew that the government would reimburse them their money. So the whole dang thing was a racket.
Initially, the bank said, sorry, this is too risky, Mr. President, for us. We're in the business of managing risk. It's not our money. It's the hard-working people's money sitting in our bank.
Right.
We can't.
Another thing I want to bring up to this United States financial scam racket is, even though I don't own a home no more, my money is being used so other people can get loans for homes. And that's what banks do. They use their banking clients' monies that's in the bank to give loans and do other things. Even though I don't own a home, my money's being used so someone else can have a home. As I suffer in whatever, or millions.
Can't lend to people whose credit is not prime.
Sure.
You're asking us to lend to people who are subprime. And he says, here's the key, if you don't, Mr. Bannon, I'm going to make sure the Justice Department charges you with discriminatory lending because you refuse to lend to
black
my...
people. Yes.
All right, so Clinton comes out and says, Bannon, if you don't start loaning money out to these people, we're going to come after you for discriminating, right? Which a lot of people don't realize is, banks and the way they operate really created, our homeless problem in America. See, when you get a home, you got to go through everything because they will put just crap in there that you have no idea what it means. And one day everything's going fine, and you get something in the mail, your mortgage is going up again. All right, and then a couple months or 6 months go down the road, your mortgage is going up again. It just keeps going, but you're supposed to be at a fixed rate. But all these continuancies and rewrites of mortgages and the little clause that they have in there, you mess with it. You miss something, one paint, like I said, and boom, the house is gone. And the banks don't care because, oh, well, this guy, we're going to have to, it's just crazy. It's crazy.
Subprimers. In business terms, you should never lend to. But what we'll do is I'm going to form an agency called Fannie Mae and Ginnie Mae, just another agency names. They'll guarantee your loan. So don't worry.
I feel so vindicated right now. This is crazy. Holy fuck.
Don't worry. You don't have to pay it back anymore. Even though maybe you don't even have to work as hard anymore. That's probably a harsh statement, but these players, these two big
Can you summarize
firms,
this? Yeah, basically what he's doing is he's saying that Bill Clinton and the people that were in charge made a system where basically you would give money to people who you shouldn't give money to. But if you don't give money to those people, because there's a correlation with ethnic different groups, like, for example, Black people or Hispanics, that then they can create a punishment for basically saying that, oh, well, because you're not giving money to these different large groups of ethnic minorities, that now it's because you're being discriminatory rather than the fact that you're just exercising discretion based off of like basically investment tables.
Well, it wasn't even that, sir. What it was is they knew it was a guaranteed loan. That was the problem. So the mortgages were being wrote up fraudulent, knowing that them people were going to renege on the loan. Therefore, they get the property back, plus the loan was guaranteed by the government. It was a racket. Now, of course, Mr. Clinton was right. Banks are discriminating. And they only loan to people with good credit. And some of these people actually got their credit straight, like me, and bought a home. Wasn't the smartest person. And even they took advantage of that. It was a Freddie Mac, whatever loan or whatever. And the whole thing, the government, the banks, they all, it's a guaranteed loan. It's a guaranteed loan. And then they drive you nuts. Right? Hoping you renege on the loan. Why? Well, they get the property, and then also the loan gets paid. It was just a big scam. So what does the government got to do? Well, you got to give us our houses back. You got to give our houses back, or new loans to purchase a new property, a new home. Nah. Sucks, but that's what they got to do. And you're also using my money to pay for illegal aliens' homes that are here illegally and everything, giving them loans because you don't want to get in trouble from the new law that's put in that the Clintons did, that you're discriminating, but yet you're discriminating against me, but yet you're using our money that's in your banks to give loans and do financial stuff for your own, yeah, pretty crazy. Right?
So, and then also it's by keeping those people, like, remember what I said before about how it's like keeping them on the clock, right? Always making sure that those people aren't able to ever, like kind of like get outside of the money that they're continually having to pay.
Fannie Mae will
To
guarantee
make
the
them
fact
rely
that that
on the
bank
system and continually
will
fucking
receive its
vote
money.
for the same people.
Now, the bank says, wow,
Yep.
best deal in history. I refused to lend to Mr. Bannon, but now he has the big brother, his Uncle Sam. He went to his Uncle Sam, and Uncle Sam says, I'm guaranteeing it. The bank says, I want everybody. Give me as many people as you can give me, because Uncle Sam is the best credit in the world. Not only that, it's the United States.
And there was the scam. Right there. Once the banks found out that it was guaranteed money, oh yeah, they gave me a loan, but the paperwork was just a mess. Every lawyer I let look at it was like, what the F is it? And what was funny, they said, well, you lost your home. I know it sucks, Mr. Kramer. I know it sucks, but the way the loans and everything and all the madness and everything was wrote up, and we can't tell heads or tails of it. And that's what they did. Now, a lot of people, don't realize that a lot of people got really pissed off and started calling the government. And it wasn't long after that a couple of these banks got hit. But there it is right there. There's the proof right there. Now, did this put Epstein at jeopardy, talking and revealing the scam that was going on? I don't know.
States government. We'll take it all. We'll take as much subprime as we can handle, because it's the best investment for the moment. It's a strange investment because it has politics.
The YouTube videos no longer up anymore.
Inserted its way into the numbers.
Yeah, you're right, RC. Good morning.
Politics doesn't belong in the markets.
Oh, it's here.
But now we're going to have, I want the votes. We'll make guarantees that you who can't get a house normally will be able to get a house from the bank. The bank says, this is the best deal in history. We will package 100, 300, 1,000 of you subprimers, and we'll sell.
And that's what they did to me. My home was in a package, and every time I tried to track it down, the bank that they said, well, this bank owns your mortgage, so you'll have to contact them. And I would contact them, and they said, well, your house is in a package. And we sold that package of like 250,000 homes or something like that to another bank. And that bank has stipulations or whatever, so your loan might not be. I'm like, what in the F are you folks talking about? Well, you missed a payment. And I'm like, yeah, because my mortgage keeps going up. I'm not the smartest guy in the world, but, I signed on for so much money a month, and now my mortgage is going up. And I take the paperwork to these lawyers and people to look at it, and they can't make heads or tails of it. And they would say, oh, well, we sold a package. It was a giant package. And we sold it to this place. And I just went through so much crap trying to track down who was the lien holder, the owner of the loan now. It was just ridiculous.
Pull it off to somebody else. And the whole system becomes mired in subprime mortgages.
Man.
That's becomes the
What do you
issue.
mean mired? There's just too much supply. It's a supply demand problem. You get too much supply.
No, it's
He
a
says
very good
subprimers
question.
like a slur.
What does
Yeah.
too much supply mean? Well, then you get the people, go back to your first question to me,
The financial crisis.
government leaders. Government leaders know if they're good, and they can do mathematics, they can balance their checkbooks. So certain people in Congress said, well, how do you value these subprime mortgages? The banks say we've been valuing them the same way we've always valued them for the past 20 years. The accounting.
This is like listening to a dev explain how they design the game.
And that's exactly what it is to the rich and the powerful and the banks, is a game. Now, could these people have paid their home loans on time? Yeah, I was making my payments on time until that balloon mortgage kicked in and it was up and going up all the time. So these people were deliberately, possibly, creating havoc within your home. So you miss a payment or you renege on the fine print that you didn't see. It was a racket scam. It was a good idea. It was right. Finally, the government caught on to the banks that they were discriminating. And that was breaking the law. But they, the government finally realized, you got to give these people loans. And the bank said, okay, if it's guaranteed, bring them in. We don't give a crap. We'll give them loans that there's no way they could pay back. But the banks weren't worried because that money was guaranteed by the bank, by the government. So if you got screwed or whatever, they didn't care. The bank was still getting their money. I want my houses. I want both sides of my houses.
Like it's like listening to, it's like a dev interview.
Firms, there's something in this country called GAAP accounting, which is a standard type of accounting.
Generally accepted accounting principles.
And we account for them the same way we've always accounted for them. If we paid $1,000 for your mortgage last night,
Yes.
when we put it on our books today, we're going to say its value is $1,000.
Right.
So it makes sense. I paid for it. What's its value?
Like Blizzard, yeah.
It's $1,000. That's what I paid for it last night. No. The Congress people said, that's not really a good answer,
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't give us confidence that you know what you're doing. Because you have to sell it tomorrow morning.
Uh-huh. This is
there's
explained in the movie.
something's happened and you have to sell it. Remember, there's kinds of stress tests.
Mm-hmm.
Would you be able to value it at what you paid for it the day before? And Wall Street says, that's not the way you can think about this. This is crazy.
Yeah.
We always value things at the cost from the day before.
I can't wait. I'm listening to an accounting
And
lecture
they
from this
changed
dude.
the accounting
When the
method,
dev speaks, you listen.
in essence, to say not what it was
That's
worth
crazy.
yesterday, but if I have to sell, what would it be worth?
Yeah.
That's impossible. So what happens is every bank now has to value something they bought yesterday at lower than they paid.
Architect, yeah.
Never before in 20 years did they have to do this. So something they bought at 1,000 on their books was 1,000.
I'm going to be honest. The more I watch this, the more I'm not sure if he's dead.
Now 990.
Yeah.
That starts to. You asked the question about what did I start to think about.
I don't know.
Something's 1,000 and 990. This person now has to value it at 980.
When did you first start to get nervous, understanding Bill Clinton in all this? Did you change glasses?
Yes,
Okay.
I changed shirt.
I saw the black.
Guy, bro, he changed his shirt in the middle of the interview.
Are you okay with the?
Yeah, great. I think we're gonna have all kinds of changes in this.
I'm experimenting. Okay.
Well, that's true. Epstein changed clothes like they were water. But when you got quadrillions of dollars, you wipe your butt with silk shirts that cost more than probably my mortgage did. So, you know what? They had a good idea. That was going to help our homeless. They were going to loan to people. But once the banks knew it was guaranteed no matter what, they were actually scamming people. And they were getting their money back from the government. Oh, he reneged on the loan. You know, here it is right here in the paperwork, yada 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 yada. And people lost their homes. Out in the street like you didn't miss a beat. Hell, I don't even think I was into my house a year. I don't even think I was into my house a year. And the havoc started. Phone calls, all the kind of crap. You just name it. It was unbelievable, man. Then I would call the bank. What the heck's going on? My mortgages went up twice already. It's supposed to be a fixed mortgage. Oh no, you didn't read the thing right or whatever. Unbelievable. I don't know. But if we know anything, we finally found out the truth that they created it. Even though I'm an idiot, they created it, and it was a guaranteed racket. The banks made a lot of money. It was all guaranteed from the government. So actually the banks were scamming the government. That's why the banks finally said, okay, we'll take all these people if you're guaranteeing the loan. And it was just havoc.
When did you get a feeling? Did you ever anticipate before it happened, something like 2008 could happen?
No.
He body swap?
How could that be?
It's the word I can beat it to death. Is that it's very much like would I anticipate I'll have a heart attack tomorrow? Unlikely.
Was 2008 a heart attack or a stroke? Debilitating.
Oh.
It's a better. I don't. It was both. But why was it both? Because, in fact, as I said, the blood was getting dried up in the system, and the head, which is sort of the central bank, wasn't working.
Jesus.
So, to some extent, it was a combination. It was a crisis.
Did you see that building up over time?
Jesus.
It's always been lurking in the background. I mean, if you have an older parent,
Search
would you
Epstein
say
alive?
it's possible? Did you anticipate him
Guys.
having a heart attack today? No, you hope things are going to go better and maybe they'll fix it up. The
time
system
travel-
was getting
yeah.
too complex, and it wasn't based on derivatives, because what people keep forgetting, and as I'm just explaining, Wall Street
Man.
and in many professions.
Well, I understand what Mr. Epstein's trying to say, that the system was just, they were hoping that these central banks, the main brain of the banks, would fix the problem. But they didn't. Why? Because they seen the scam. They ain't gonna fix it. We're getting guaranteed money from the government. We don't care if these people lose their homes or whatever. It's a guaranteed loan. If we lose they don't pay for the loan, it's guaranteed the government's going to reimburse us. So who's going to fix that? Nobody. They're getting their property back. The banks are taking control of the property. And then plus they're getting a check from the government and then reselling the property. Yeah. Who was going to fix that? Nobody. No one was going to fix that. They're making money hand over fist. They were guaranteed, whether they screwed up the paperwork or the loan got mixed up or whatever. that they were going to get their money. Oh, thanks, RC. Now you live and learn.
Including Wall Street. Wall Street makes it sound complicated. They don't want the little guy to understand what they do because they make so much money and they don't do very much. So they couch it in words like derivative and stock options and commodity futures and different types of contracts. It's all fairly, everyone is capable of understanding it. It is not complicated. But Wall Street, because they make so much money from doing fairly simple things, needs to make it more complicated than it really is.
Bingo. They don't want you to know what they're doing. And could we do it? Yeah. Could I continue to pay on my mortgage? Would I still be living in my house today? It would have been paid for. But they knew that. You know, if there wasn't all this bull crap, mixed up paperwork, and it wasn't wrote up right, it wasn't this and that, my home probably would have already been just about paid for. I probably would have had 10 more years to pay on my home. And I would have been able to keep the home if the mortgage didn't go up every goddamn time the wind blew. It was all a racket.
We had a very big recession in the early 90s based upon real estate and Japan.
Dude, it's just like I enjoyed living in ignorance more. Yeah, what the fuck, man? Like, I don't even know what to say. Oh my God. We're gonna move around a little bit more in a couple of minutes, okay?
And basically imploding.
Let's again.
Okay.
You had a recession in the 90s. I don't know what it's based upon. It's always interesting to look back and say, separate from there's certain triggers, like there in the 70s there was a.
What do you think it was based upon, the 90s downturn?
And that's when I had my home loan. It was 1995 or 1997, 95 or whatever. Yeah. Yeah. And they said I was crazy. I went to lawyers. I even went to the courthouse here in town. I was like, these people are trying to scam me. I went to the district attorney and asked him for help. He said, there's nothing we could do. We can't make heads or tails of it. And even when we do make heads or tails of it, they say it's a balloon mortgage and you reneged on the loan or whatever. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. He's like, there's nothing we could do. Thank you for your time today, sir. And yeah. And that's when my troubles really started, because I was calling government. And they were like, you better shut up, Mr. Kramer. He's going to blow the lid off of the whole thing.
Clearly there was a huge downturn.
No, I know there was.
And yes, I saved my loan papers from when I owned my house. Exactly. They know I'm telling the truth. They all know I was telling the truth.
Was a downturn. That's what I know for sure. I don't.
That's a fact.
That's all. Everything else is sort of speculation about why did he have that?
I understand that, but there's some speculation that has 0% probability of being true, and there's others that have 90%. In the range, when you look at the range of alternatives of what could have caused it in 90, and what I'm trying to do is get you all the way up to 2008.
This is insane.
Look, you're the smartest guy in the room, right? You know that. Do you think there's anybody in the world today
Oops, this is going to be a bad question.
No, but do you think anybody in the world today, the Alan Greenspans, the Bernankes, is there any central banker you know, any partner of any Wall Street firm, any guy running a trading desk, and I would take it that would be, or anybody at a Larry Fink at BlackRock, Steve Schwartzman at Blackstone, the top 100 financial guys, and let's throw in a couple of Nobel economists, and let's throw in the best professors at Wharton, at Harvard, at Stanford. Do you think that there's anybody that understands money or understands the world's financial system as good as you?
There must be.
But it doesn't come to the top of the head.
No.
Okay, fine.
Wow. Holy shit.
This is probably also something they didn't want to get out into the world. Other than they liked young teenage girls or whatever, but this is probably the main thing. This was blowing the lid on everything we were saying. Right? They're not being fair with us. The paperwork's mixed up, messed up, whatever. And then they wouldn't give loans on certain properties because they were too old. If it was a double wide trailer sitting on an acre and a half, fruit trees and everything, and it had a real nice double wide on it or whatever, it didn't care because banks only loan so much on manufactured homes. And then once that story broke, that they weren't refinancing modular homes after a certain time, they created another place that would give loans on outdated manufactured homes. It was just a racket. They knew they were getting money from the government. So they'd write it up like, hey, these people reneged on their loan and couldn't pay the payments, and they were late a couple months, and yada yada yada, and which wasn't true. Yeah.
Bro, what the fuck? Oh my fucking god. Look at his face.
Now that I've gotten that, let's go back to 1990. In that arc from the fall of the Berlin Wall to 2008.
Good.
We started with the implosion in Tokyo of the Japanese economy, Japanese financial markets. We had the huge run up in internet stocks, right? We had the implosion of that in 2000. The bankruptcy of Drexel Burnham in 90, implosion of Japan, huge run up in equity markets for the internet, implosion of the internet 2000, 10 years later, roughly. And then this run up through the Iraq war and all that, the run up to 2008. Every 10 years, it seems like we're in some sort of 10 years before the 1990s was the 70s.
You sound like an astrologer.
Okay.
And not a financial person.
You're supposed to be a mathematician. It just seems to me a pattern of every 10 years.
That's misleading. That's exactly right. Because people like to see patterns. People like to see patterns where there are none.
So a pattern of a financial crisis every 10 years is just in my mind.
Yes.
Long-term capital.
Jesus, he just says it. Oh my god.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, the people of the United States, rest our case against the system that was put among us. Yes, it was good intentions. It would have worked. It would have worked. My house would have been just about paid for. It would have worked. But they seen a chance to grab the money. guaranteed money paid from the government, and it just boom. A lot of people lost their homes. A lot of banks got very rich and confiscated many properties between 90 and 2005. So it was just all a big racket. And the only ones that suffered were the American citizens. Capitalism has so good ideas, but it needed to be controlled. Exactly. The government didn't know that they were being ripped off. Once once people got a hold of the government and said they're scamming, that's when the government said, "What do you mean? They're scamming you. They're creating havoc within the mortgage companies, and they're writing mortgages that are bad. They're driving people nuts with it. You can't figure out the paperwork. They're getting the property back foreclosure, and yet they're getting paid for you. The loan was not fulfilled, so the government has to pay the loan." And that's when the government said, "Oh, Mr. Kramer, thank you. We had no idea." Yeah. I want my stuff back. I don't care how much money banks have. We don't care.
This is nuts. What the fuck is this?
It's called a racket, sir. It's called a racket. That's what it's called, if you're asking. And of course, the banks will say, we're a balloon. We got a balloon in the real estate business. We're going to lose everything. Bail us out. Same thing with car businesses and everything. You got to bail us out. But did you bail me out? F no. Did you bail the American citizens out? F no. I remember coming home from work one day when all this was going on. And I wasn't moved out of my house yet. And I turned on the TV, and there it was on the 6 o'clock news. Wachovia Bank swarmed by FBI agents. Just so happens, my mortgage was bought by Wachovia Bank. Or like 6 banks, they ended up with it. And when I talked to them, they said we have thousands and thousands and thousands of homes that we bought from another mortgage company. And it just so happens your mortgage is in this package that was being sold. So we don't know what really happened, or if they tried to rewrite stuff or whatever when they own these loans to try and make it look different or whatever. But a lot of people lost their properties. Oh, heck, they were double property taxing us out here. Michigan was property taxing them because they were so close to the Michigan border. Michigan was saying they own that land. Indiana was saying, no, we own that land. So they were getting double property tax. They were getting property tax that they had to pay for Michigan and Indiana. It was all in the news. It was in the paper and everything out here. The government meant well. That is true. Creating subprime loans for the homeless or the people that were getting incomes that could afford housing to buy a home, but the government trusted too much in the system. And it was the system that turned around and was scamming Uncle Sam and the American citizens. Why? Because they didn't have agents in there. They didn't have people in there looking You know, you wrote this mortgage up wrong. This continuancy shouldn't be in there. You know, you can't, you know, how come we're looking at two different sets of papers? Two different kinds of loans read up. I don't know who had who was in possession of the mortgage at that time. What title company, what bank, whoever, I don't know.
I just, yeah. Emperor Palpatine? No, I was actually thinking about that, right? This is more like Darth Plagueis. And then what followed after Darth Plagueis is Palpatine, who took over the government. Who is that?
The long-term capital that had to be bailed out back in the late 90s when everybody panicked.
Man.
And that wasn't a big, that bailout today would look small.
How about
was it
that,
$5 billion or was $30 billion? It was,
Businesses fail all the time.
what they long-term capital, and the Federal Reserve stepped in.
But I'm saying people go bad. Things go bad all the time.
Yes, the local, you're correct. The audience that's watching this, the little guys, they go bankrupt all the time and nobody gives a shit. You know why? They're a little guy. But when long-term capital management goes bankrupt, or Bear Stearns goes bankrupt, or Lehman Brothers goes bankrupt, people care because
It's an unfair characterization.
Why do you say
Because
that?
again,
Yeah, it is. Because us little guys, no one gives a shit about. You know? But maybe us little guys should go ahead and start doing what these rich people do. Let's go out and get billions of dollars worth of credit and run it up and then tell the banks, screw you. Tell the government, we ain't paying it. Give two crats. No, maybe. I mean, hell, they opened up that EPA loan for people and everything. People ran to it, got billions of dollars from the government, and didn't even open up a nothing business. They're somewhere right now in Tahiti living off their money. The government's scratching their head. What do you mean you didn't? Well, you gave them $50 million to start a business. Where's it at? It's right there on the corner. It's just a little candy shop. 50 million for that. Well, that's 50 million. You see, you're not, you know, you ain't paying attention to the playing field. You know, so they gave a bunch of IPA loans or whatever, which I probably had 50 or 60 of them loans, and I've never owned nothing. Never even went for one of them loans, but our Social Security number is probably plastered all over these loans somewhere. You own a house in Sumisaki Sakai. I've never even been to Samisaki Sakai. How do I own a home there? No. Well, you don't know, but you haven't paid for it, so we're taking it from you. Yeah, well, I imagine so. You're taking a home that I had no idea I owned. But that's probably why my credit is so shot in America. Because you get idiots sold all of our information because we found out what you were doing and revealed it. You know, that we'll teach him, sell all of his information over to Inky. You know, he'll never know. Yeah. That's about what it is. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's enough of this. So the truth comes out. We weren't the cause of our demise and losing our homes. It was the madness that they seen the opportunity that it was a guaranteed loan no matter what from the government. And they didn't care if that loan was properly wrote up or it was a fraudulent loan and people just could not pay their payments and they lost their homes. Yeah, it does go bad. I agree, Mr. Epstein, but not when they deliberately cause it. I guess that's keeping you rich people at the top. Now let's listen to a little bit more of this. And then I got to get going. I got things to do.
and it's the complexity of the situation. If you think about you have a complex system. You have your body. Now, in fact, the little guy is my finger. This is
And Bear Stearns is your heart.
That's correct. The banking system is my heart. The system, I can't risk my because remember,
Okay,
it's not
so
only my.
You haven't been able to name.
Hang
another-
on.
You haven't.
What,
hang on. No, hang on.
I was trying to hang. I wanted to see if the hang on
No,
worked.
no, no.
It
You
didn't
haven't
work.
been able. You're not good enough yet. You're like junior wizard trying to do it. You haven't.
Yes.
I'll say, since we can't name another guy that's as good as you. Now, there may be a couple out there. You're not bragging. You're humble.
Dude, this is oh my God. Who is this? This is insane. Really? This
Bottom line is your fingers are the little guys. The heart that controls everything, that keeps the body going, is the bank. They cannot let the heart go, therefore you will die. So even though the banks and everything is all just a bunch of crap, we can't turn them in. We know they ripped off millions of people. We know the loans were all screwed up. We know these people drove you crazy. So you did lose your home, but we can't let it go because if the heart goes, which is the bank, and we expose all that and this and that and shut them down or whatever, then the heart dies, and we can't allow that. And that's pretty much what Epstein is saying.
is nuts.
Oh, it is nuts, sir, but it's going to get a lot more nuts. Watch.
It had to be sometime. Please tell me there was some time before you went to jail and basically got cut off from daily information in the summer of 2008.
The most unbelievable.
That
Yes,
you started to
clearly.
get very nervous that this
Don't leave. The
complex
video
system,
was
that
taken
something was
down.
deeply
No, it
wrong.
wasn't. I'll try it again.
Okay, first,
Copy.
let's go back.
Paste.
When I say no one understands the system better than I
See?
do, it doesn't mean I
You always
understand.
sound like a doctor. You're afraid he's going to get sued for giving a thing.
Yes,
you're not,
no.
gonna, you're
No,
not
no,
taking
no.
on any liability. There's
Yeah.
no contingent
Yes.
liability here for
Yeah,
your
no,
answers.
no. But the word understand is the problem.
Okay.
I don't understand the system. So I don't understand the financial
Will you
system.
please stop? You cannot sit here and
Ma'am.
tell me.
No,
What we just went through, I'll go through again. The
It's
hedge
region
fund managers,
locked?
the money
Really?
managers, the central bankers, the commercial bankers, the heads of the
Uh-huh.
investment banks, the heads of all the trading desks, the top economists, and I'll throw in the business school lecturers at Stanford. Of all the top 200, 250, you can't name at the top of your head the guys are at least at your level. You have to understand it somewhat.
no. Sorry.
Well, he's right about that. We don't understand it. We're not supposed to. That's not how they make their money. They make their money confusing their clients as much as they can so they don't pay the loan. Well, and that's just it. That is America's problem right there. Homeless, everything else. Like I said, my house would have just about been paid off completely. Yeah, I could have continued it. Yeah, I could have, if the payments were the original payments and never kept climbing and climbing and climbing when they knew I was on a fixed income. Yeah, I would have still been in my home. Are you kidding me? I had an acre and a half of land and some fruit trees in the back every morning, dares coming through. Eating out of my, yeah. I even put a room addition on it, made the home bigger than what it was. I was doing everything right until one day I woke up and I had problems. And I think they knew I had problems. I even told them, listen, I'm going through something right now. I got brain problems. And And once I told them that, it was even worse. It even got worse. It was like vultures coming to feed. It was just like vultures coming. And then finally one day I called them. I said, I'm not making no more payments. So that's it. I can't afford it. I'm not making no more payments. You people are scamming me. And that's what happened. Now, what's more deadlier? What got Epstein in the trouble he got? Was it this information that he was releasing to the world? That we were scammed? That they knew you weren't, even if you went to another place to try and get refinanced, your double wide trailer on an acre and a was be able to get refinanced. And they knew that. So no matter what you did, you were going to lose your home. And they didn't even care about the double wide. It was the land. The acre and a half. Although it was a nice double wide, but they didn't care. Yeah. Yeah. And I believe it. Epstein don't know it all. If he knew it all, he would have fixed it all. But he don't know it all. And there is someone smarter than Epstein, because before Epstein came along, this was going on. So he's not as smart as he led people to believe. Epstein made most of his money off of blackmailing people. He was not a genius. That's what a lot of people get mixed up with. He was a scammer himself. And that's how he made his money. He didn't make, oh, you're a great financial. No, he had money to invest because he was scamming people. That's how he made his money.
Man,
No one understands it. It's a miracle.
Jesus
It's
Christ.
that's part of the problem. It's impossible
Wow.
to understand. That word understand simply means if this happens here, that will
You
happen.
share the video. Yeah, this is nuts. Let me go back. I'm going to find the other ones too. So apparently he talks about the Illuminati.
Like it was yesterday, one of the headlines in Time magazine said, "David, please fire yourself." So he thought that there was a world that existed that would be a combination of both politics and business and leadership. What do I mean? He formed something called the Trilateral Commission. The Trilateral Commission is some spooky stuff. People said it was some of the people that the Illuminati, there's some mystery
No way. Oh my God.
about it, people that ran
He
the world.
actually said it.
It was politicians, but David said most countries, the politicians get elected for 4 years or 8 years, separate from the royal families in England or in the Middle East. Someone's there for 4 years and then they're not there anymore.
Yeah.
The most important people to have stability and consistency would be businessmen. So he formed this Trilateral Commission of businessmen and politicians from three.
He's literally.
Yeah, it might have worked if they were good business people, but then themselves filed bankruptcy 70 times. What makes them a good businessman? We're going to hook you up with this business guy. He knows what's going on. How's his financial records? Well, he filed bankruptcy 50 times, but he still got money. So that's good. This guy knows what he's doing. It's the whole thing is a house of cards. Hold on a minute, folks. I got to get this dog her snack. Hold on a minute. She's barking. Come on. Come on.
Talking about how they made the fucking basically the Illuminati. This is it's so you literally have so remember what I said? This is like a dev video. What the fuck? It's literally just a dev video. Alex Jones was right about everything. Oh my god.
Alex Jones didn't know crap on a stick. Everybody, Alex Jones did nothing but listen to other people and put it out on broadcast. How did he end up getting sued for everything, but he still got millions? People can't even see the scam in that. Alex Jones lost everything. Well, how come he's still living in a beautiful home and got money and cars and always hunting and going out? How do you lose everything like I did? And you're just out. You got more money than ever. I have no idea. I have no idea. All right, folks, we are going to end this. Make sure you go. I think I posted this channel in chat. I want to thank RC for stopping in. You're right, RC, about that. It's just a bunch of malarkey. They thought the good times would never end. Exactly. They weren't going to make any changes. They weren't going to fix any paperwork in any loans because you ain't going to make no money that way. And you're right. They just thought it would never end. Right? until certain people started getting upset and calling banks and calling government and everything, and saying, screw it, we'll take this bank down ourselves. They were like, oh, you can't do that, we're protected by the FDIC. And I'm like, yeah, that's, who are the effing dicks? Who are they? They'll never tell you. No, they would never tell you who they are. But that's crazy. I hold no grudge. I love the banks, even though they don't loan to people and stuff like that. When RC saying they created them, they create. They're the holders of the money. If you're going to do anything, invest your money in build a bank. I think I'm going to have Kramer's First National and Trust built here soon. It's all a dream. It's just a pipe dream. But within my own little town that I'm creating, I'll have Kramer's Trust and Fund. That will loan to people like they did back in the olden days. In the wild, wild west, you can go into a bank and get a $5 loan, a dollar loan, 50 cents. They would give loans that cheap. Today, you go into a bank, I need $500. I want to borrow. Oh, you're going to have to borrow 3,000. We don't borrow $500. So they want you to go into more debt than what you need. Do you folks understand that? They want you to go in debt more than what you need. You can't get a $500 loan from a bank. You can't get a $1,000 loan from a bank. It's got to be, they put a cap on it. You got to borrow more than what you would really need. Well, I don't know. You folks have a great day. I want to thank everyone for stopping. I want to thank RC and everybody else. Make sure you go out and check this video out. It's crazy. Is this the reason they got rid of Mr. Epstein, or was it the other thing that they got rid of him for? Whatever it is, it ain't good, and I got to shut my mouth now because I don't want to come up dead. Yeah. No, I don't want to come up dead either. They about killed me the first time I was running. All mad and calling all these banks, trying to hunt down my mortgage, calling government. We're invading this. What? You can't do that, though. Someone tell me some information on what's going on. All right, ladies and gentlemen, you all have a great day. God bless. I got some errands to run. I'll be back later. Once again, thank RC for stopping in this morning, and we'll be back later. And right now, it don't look too bad out. Looks like, well, it's cold, cloudy, so normal winter day. You folks have a good day. I'll be back later.